Your cam link's good. Your audio seems all set up the right place.
Yeah, actually, one second. I might lose your audio because I'm switching the screen
Oh, okay.
mirroring.
That's okay.
1 second.
That's all right.
Man, did I already lose you?
Check, check, check. Hey, Nano Republica. Who is that? Can I?
Hold on 1 second. I can't hear you. This is on my end.
Hello, check, check, check. Oh, that's Andy Miller.
Okay, got you back.
Nice. All right. Well, we got Andy Miller in the chat. That's nice.
All right, it's you, me, and Andy.
Yep. Oh, here we go. And Ryan Wagoner. What's up, Ryan?
All right. It's been what has it been? It's been 2 weeks since we did one of these.
Yeah. Has it been 2 weeks?
I know we skipped last week.
Yeah. So we went to Vancouver Island to visit my daughter.
Oh, nice.
So that's why I was on the road. We were driving over the mountain pass when we would normally do the show.
Cool.
And
that's really I haven't really been there to Vancouver Island, but I've been to Vancouver. I sort of drove through Vancouver once, but that's like a part of the country in Canada that I just want to spend more time in.
yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice. I can't tell if I got more allergies when I got there or if I'm getting sick or what, but I got a little bit of...
Your daughter goes to school there?
Yeah, so my daughter's at University of Victoria in her,
nice.
Technically her 5th year, but her 4th year of her degree, and lives in this really cool communal house with a bunch of other students. So we got to have a big dinner there one night.
Oh, super cool.
And just so... like really happy for her. It's kind of everything you'd hope your kid would experience is, living. She was living in another place with just 2 other roommates, but now she's in like a big student house that's right by campus, and there's 7 of them total, I think. And
and this is like you said, it's like her final year. Like she's graduating.
Yeah, she'll be graduating. She'll graduate in the fall because she needs to take some summer courses. But yeah, she'll have her degree, which is kind of bittersweet because they've been living in this house now for a little while, and it was really cool to there's just not very many times in life where you get to experience that kind of community.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I lived at a house with a couple of guys in college, and it was the best. It was a shithole. And you know what I remember about it is like I never left the house except to like go to the occasional class, but like we were the party house, so everybody came to us, you know.
Yeah. This similar with this house. Everyone comes to this place. They've got a big kitchen and a big. So there was another student's family was there as well visiting. So. Cool. It was me and my 2 youngest sons and my wife and them, and all of the house residents made us a big dinner together and stuff. So,
what's it like? And she's your oldest?
Yeah, she's our oldest. Yeah.
So so she's like heading out into the real world. Like, does she know what's going to happen? Do you know what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean that was a topic of discussion for sure. Because I was like, are you guys worried about this? Like this current, this current situation we're in?
She doesn't know like what she's going to be doing after school yet?
No. She has ideas. She's been working with somebody already on ecology projects. He runs a nonprofit. And so there might be something she wants to do through that.
Yeah, I do remember that time after I graduated. There was probably... I want to say about 2 years where I was sort of just jumping around to like random gigs and trying on different careers before I landed on something, you know?
I think there's a lot of pressure, and I think it's even harder now.
Yeah,
and when I talk to them in the house, honestly, it doesn't seem like they'd thought about it a lot. Like they weren't as worried as I was. They still have this kind of like
Security
youthful
blanket, right?
optimism, and just and I'm like, ugh, like this
It's such a
economy
trip.
for anybody getting started is.
It's such a trip. You're thinking about that tonight. I'm going to my 9-year-old daughter's play of Finding Nemo at the school. So
That's so great. That's so great.
Yep.
I mean, that's great too. You kind of this stage is great, but you also miss that that younger stage. It's so so cute. The kids are. It was interesting because it's been a while since we've been able to convince our 2 youngest boys who are in high school to do a road trip, and
it is interesting. Like, so my older one is 11, she's in the next room here, but she's in 6th grade, which is the final year of elementary school in my town. So next year she'll be going like officially into middle school.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole transition.
That it is.
Yeah.
That's when it starts. Yeah, 12, 13.
Yeah.
That was still a pretty good stage. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's all great, but it's
I mean, I remember it and I have no idea what to expect with girls because it was only me and my brother growing up.
Yeah.
But I do remember the middle school years was a confusing time for sure.
Yeah. That's actually been the most helpful thing for me as a parent is to try to remember what it was like for me at that age. And it kind of recontextualizes everything when you're going, okay, how are they feeling? Like once the kids get to about 17, they are starting to like wanting to separate themselves and be independent. And so there's this kind of messy transition period where they're wanting to be independent, but they're not quite ready yet. They're wanting to make their own rules, but they're still living in your house. And that what's helpful for me in those stages is to remember, oh, I remember what that was like with me and my dad, and just feeling like,
for sure, man.
Dad, I want out of here.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. We can go deeper and deeper on this stuff. Why don't we get into the? Are we even recording yet?
Yeah, we're recording. We're in the
Okay.
show.
All right, cool.
Hey, just want to say hi to everyone in the chat. We got Osiris. I think I'm saying that right. We got Pascal, who's in there.
All right. Yeah, got a good group today.
Pascal's got his joke every time. It's it's great. Got Ryan Hefner. We got Zach. They're all chatting. They're having their own conversations there in the live stream chat.
Yeah, of course.
But they don't even need us.
No, they could have their own panel episode. Why don't we kick it off with? Well, all right. So, for all listeners, we've got a little agenda today. Trying to be somewhat organized about this. So, what did I put in the tweet? So, I think we will kick it off with a little bit of sort of like housekeeping, but maybe like a check-in on this podcast itself, like our thoughts on it. We want to get your thoughts as listeners on how this is going, and maybe some updates to formats and bringing guests back on the show in the coming weeks. We want to talk.
This could be the last episode.
Yeah, this is the final episode. I actually today, a couple hours ago, I booked a vacation and I used ChatGPT to do that. We could talk about that.
I want to talk about that.
You got one about who is my real competition.
That one came out of a Slack group I'm in. I think that would be a good. I don't think founders are thinking enough about who their actual competition is.
That'll be a good one to chew on.
You started a new app.
I Rails nude a new app.
Rails new.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this one, both the app itself and I'm really tweaking my process on how I build apps. I'm really excited about that.
Oh, that's cool.
I do have a domain name for it, and there's nothing on it yet. I'll share it, and I'll share the name, and I'm curious to know if you can even guess what the app is.
Wow, man.
You had one about risky launch-based businesses.
Yeah, I want to get back to that too. I think just this kind of came out of listening to mostly technical but also just thinking about my own experience with launch-based businesses. I think it's worth visiting that again.
Yeah, for sure. This month, what about like 2 weeks ago, I did ratchet up the prices a little bit on builder methods, and
Oh, sweet.
it's been interesting. I can give an update on how November is going. This is essentially the third month of revenue. So I'm starting to build like actual data, and I'm starting to see what the trend lines sort of look like in this business. It's super early still, but it's really interesting to watch.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's talk about the future of the panel.
Yeah.
Well, we're in our second iteration of the show. The first iteration was, people might not even remember. The first iteration of the show was, the idea is that we were going to bring on 2 guests every episode, and it was going to be this beautiful utopia of different viewpoints and perspectives, and, you know, not just one or two people's opinions or experience, but you know, a diversity of thoughts and views.
Yeah, we literally named the show around this whole concept, and the image has like 4 boxes, 2 of them open for guests. I think, what did that last, like a month, like 6 weeks?
Yeah, it was like,
what happened. I think we were both really excited about that concept of it being a panel, and we can sort of like rope our friends in. And I think our overly optimistic thinking was like, oh, how hard could it be to just send a DM to any friend on any given Thursday and have them hop on a 2-hour podcast last minute?
Yeah.
And we did do that from time to time. We can probably still do that randomly from time to time. But the other thing that happens with that is that, first of all, like, most people just aren't readily available. But also, it's like we did try to plan topics. Like, if we're gonna, even if we know the person well, we still want to figure out, like, is this a topic we want to talk about? Is this the right person we want to talk about this week? So I think that you and I both care a lot about content in general, like podcast content, and we want to make this a really good show, both for us to do, but obviously for the listeners too. And I think what ended up happening was we found that was logistically too tricky to just pull in guests at any given time.
Yeah, and maybe we didn't let that concept breathe enough either. It was, in terms of like scheduling people, it was difficult. I also found, and again, maybe with more time we would have figured this out, but 4 people on a show is really hard. It's hard enough for you and I to manage a dynamic where we're both speaking about the same amount, and we're like, we're not talking over each other too much. And then you expand that to 3 people, it's even harder. 4 people, I just often found myself like kind of going to the background and just waiting for other people to say their piece.
And it's not even so much about like wanting to jump in and get your airtime to talk, but it's also like, it's really hard to just do a one-on-one interview to steer the conversation, to make sure you to make sure you keep it interesting for listeners. To do that with 4 people and keep it moving, that's tough.
Yeah. And the other thing I felt like we lost that, has honestly been a challenge. I think every guest that we have on, except for Adam, maybe because he's just got so much experience with jumping on, but there's always this a little bit of formalness to it that I didn't love. Like, it's like, hey, today we've got 2 guests, and then they put on their kind of guest, their guest costume and guest voice, and I just wanted the conversations to feel more authentic than that, and to get to that point where it's like, hey, we can all just relax here and just kind of let things fly a little bit more. Didn't feel like we got there.
So we received an email, like a week ago, from a listener. Sorry, I forgot who that was from. But I think what he expressed to us, there was also some truth in that. I think, so so since we made the shift to basically just you and me giving business updates and talking about topics that we think are interesting, which is always like the easiest thing for us to do. Like we could literally like DM 10 minutes before we come on here and talk about what our list of topics are for today, and then we hop on the mics and talk about it.
Yeah.
Which is always like the easiest thing to do. I mean, I think some people find it interesting, but I also think that maybe the pendulum swung too far back in the other direction, where it probably does get kind of boring after a while if it's just the two of us, and especially if it's week to week, where like if I'm giving a business update, like not a whole lot changes from one week to the next, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, is there a magic middle where we can have guests and like so we outlined the challenges. It's way more difficult to schedule and plan for a guest, which can sometimes I'm sure for listeners and people in the chat, even it'll be like, what's the big deal? Like just book some guests, like get a calendar booking thing. And when you're doing a weekly show, like adding any additional stuff can just make it feel not fun, you know?
So first thing is I do think that we should try to bring guests back into the mix in some way. I also think that we should keep, some or maybe even most episodes still just you and me. So like if we bring guests on, maybe it should be like once a month-ish, once or twice a month, and then like alternate weeks or once every 3 or 4 episodes, something like that.
Yeah.
But the other point I wanted to make about guests in general is I think that when I reached out to you earlier in the year before we started this podcast, one of my motivations for even starting something new was to maybe do more content with founders who are building products or like still relatively new in their startup. Not necessarily new to entrepreneurship, but within the first year or 2 or 3 of their current business.
Yeah.
And we happen to be friends with some people who have really well established and by a lot of different metrics, very successful SaaS businesses. And we had some of them on the show early on. And those people are awesome. And we can always find interesting things to talk about.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's, to me, like me personally, I'm sort of more interested in talking to especially bootstrappers who not are like so early on, like, all right, at the idea stage and trying to get the very first customers, but maybe a couple thousand MRR or they're onto something. They've been at it 6 to 12 months. It has some traction, and now they're in that stage of like it's a little bit chaotic, trying to figure out what the next chess move is to really make this business work. And the hard thing about that, from our perspective, is like, yeah, we're probably in touch with a lot of those people, but we're not directly like they're not exactly always a DM away.
Yeah. You have to do more planning for that.
A little bit more planning. And then the other challenge, I just don't know what the solution is, but like it would be nice to discover some new talented, awesome builders and entrepreneurs that maybe we don't know so well yet. But then that requires a whole like research and recruiting piece, which I don't think you and I really want to invest any real time in. And then, as any podcast does, after a while, you start to just receive pitches from random people, which sometimes there's great people who come through that, but like you sort of just assume that if it's a cold pitch, you sort of default to no until it's a yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cold pitches to me, like it's 99.9% of the time, a cold pitch is terrible.
Yeah.
And now they are ingesting all the transcripts, so they have like an AI built understanding of the. But it's just, I would rather.
But I mean, even if we put a call out to like, I mean, maybe we should try this. Is like we put some sort of call out either within like private Slack communities that we're in. So
Mm-hmm.
so there's already a layer of like vetting built in because it's
Yeah.
like a private community that we're in, or maybe even on Twitter, or even have some like throw up a basic form or something that people can fill out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then at least we can have a layer where we can sort of review, and if anything sort of catches our eye, is like, ooh, that seems like an interesting business. I'd like to ask that person a couple questions.
Yeah.
But it's just like you want to be nice about it, but you also just don't want to. I think just for the sake of listeners, like people don't really want to hear, someone who's just not really
Yeah.
doing anything interesting yet.
Well, and I've also had some PTSD. I remember when we were doing product people, we reached out to some people who we knew their voice and we'd been consuming their podcasts and blog posts and everything. And then we reached out to some people like, oh, they seem cool. And then we got them on the phone and it was like, oh my God,
Right.
like this is the worst interaction I've had in my life. And now there's this pressure to publish it and all this other stuff. So it's actually a big risk, just having.
It actually reminds me of the early years of Big Snow Tiny Conf. Brad Tunar and I, and now these days Brad is sort of taking the lead on that trip. I'm attending it in January, but he and I, started that in the early years, and we started like 12, 13 years ago, and that was at a time when we were almost unknown, totally unknown. Like we actually struggled to find the very first people to attend.
Yeah.
But eventually, like I had a podcast and he had a podcast, and we started to know some people. So we did have like an application form for people to join us on this trip to get the very first attendees. And we like one thing I've learned over the years from that trip is like there are some really, really incredibly awesome people, founders that are so quiet and unknown. You will never know that they exist unless you somehow meet them at a conference. Like like a lot of these people like don't even tweet. But they are incredibly experienced and knowledgeable and super fun to hang out with and super fun on the going skiing and snowboarding with. For the most part, we've been like pleasantly surprised, and some of these people turned into 6, 7, 8 year returning attendees on this like mastermind group. There have been a few people who just nice guys and gals, but they just weren't really a great fit, and they sort of came and went one year and never came back. So that happens too. But like and like that again, it was like that like application process where like we used to have sort of a form. We would look at their form and something was interesting about them, and we invited them, and it may have worked out great, maybe not. So it just reminded me of that whole dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I'd be open to like an application process, getting more people. Some people in chat are saying we should just bring on some people in chat and have them come on. I said one challenge is AV related, just having people, and this is a challenge with all guests, having people with a good mic sound setup. But we could also try that experiment out. I don't think we'd keep someone on from live chat like the whole time, but we could try to have people drop in for 5-10 minutes and see how it feels too.
Yeah, like nothing against the awesome folks in our live chat. And some of them I actually do know and I know are awesome people and work on some really cool stuff. I think my fear with that, just to be totally candid, is that it's so impromptu that like it would just turn into not great radio.
Yeah. It would be an interesting
like
experiment
at least
to
if we
try
know
sometime.
the person, even if it's like a new person that's new to both of us, if they came through an application process and we have a couple minutes to check out their website before we get on air, then we can at least sort of plan some content around it.
That's right. Yeah, because otherwise we're trying to figure it out live. Although I'd be fine to try it out live one day too, just as an experiment. Because I used to do that back in the Periscope days. Remember Periscope? I used to go live on Periscope, and you could like bring people on, and that was always like, rolling the dice a little bit. But
yeah, for sure. Anyway,
right.
we did want to put that at the top of the show. I know there's a lot of people listening who are not here live, so if you want to reach out to us through whatever channels you connect with us on, let us know what you think about all that.
Yeah, and I think we'll put some sort of link in the show notes about, even if it's just a Clarity Flow link that just says, hey, like just upload a quick video pitch for, what you'd want to talk about, and give us a sense of, first of all, your AV setup, because that does end up being important. But then also
give us your business, a link, what you do, maybe a quick history, and like also like what is always the best radio, the best content is like, what are you working on right now? What's your biggest challenge that you think maybe it might be interesting for us to talk through on air? That could be kind of interesting. So
yeah. All right, but maybe we should just take a risk and just put a link to the chat right now and see what happens.
What, like a Clarity Flow link?
No, like a live join us guest link on Riverside here.
Oh, right now?
just to YOLO it, just to be a little chaotic.
All right. Hey,
okay.
If you want to,
we'll do it as an experiment. I can't I might.
Wait, is this for like anyone to like multiple people to join, or?
Well, we might just keep you for a little while here. So let's see what happens.
We reserve the right to mute you.
we reserve the right to maybe not have you stay on, but we'll try it. We'll try it out. I've never actually used this guest thing, so
all right.
We'll see what happens. Is there another?
Why don't we move on with the topics, and we'll see if somebody
we'll just see if people pop in. Give it a little random chaos here.
Here we go. We already got one.
Hey, how's it going?
Justin, do you remember me?
Yes, you're the founder of Riverside, aren't you?
I am.
Well, welcome.
No way. Holy shit.
What have you been doing?
This feels full circle. You know, when I launched Riverside, I did this show on X, on Twitter.
Yes.
And I invited all these people to call in, and one of them was Justin. I did the show with you.
I remember that.
This is so funny.
Actually, I was just on YouTube, and I saw, Justin's live. So I was like, I'll check it out. And then I saw you're going to do this. I thought, I need to do this.
Yeah, you need to come in. Well, dude, it's so great to see you again.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I mean, I don't think we've met. Like Nadav, is that your right pronouncing that?
Yeah.
Hey, man, this is incredible that you're that you're here. Number one, I mean, I'm not just saying this because obviously you're on the show. Riverside is one of these products that I've been so impressed with, just the constant improvement in the product. I think I've been using it for 3 or 4 years, probably longer than that. And there was like the early years, and now I'm just so impressed with not only the recording capability, but all the editing stuff and the AI improvements. Just I don't know how you guys do it behind the scenes, but it's been great.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's honestly a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's constant pushing forward and enjoying while you're doing it. But yeah, it's been a journey for sure. So actually,
awesome.
I was just looking up when the last time you emailed me was. I don't know if this is the first time, but back in 2020.
Justin was hot. I had to really keep emailing.
And I back then I think you had 61 users in 2020. Yeah. So you must have grown a ton since then.
Yeah, we're a bit more these days.
A bit.
Yeah.
How big is your team now?
That's what I was going to ask. Like who's behind all this?
Yeah, we're pretty big. We're like I don't know if I can even say it publicly, but we're like 300 people.
300. Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's wild. And are you still you were in the Netherlands for a while? Are you still?
I live currently in Tel Aviv.
And, you're in Tel Aviv. Okay.
Yeah. So,
is a lot of the team based there, or are you still pretty distributed?
Around half the team is in Tel Aviv. Other half is remote.
Very cool.
What advice would you give? Because now you've been going 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, 5 years, I think. Yeah.
What advice would you give to people just starting up?
What advice? There's so much advice out there, right? So much.
Is any of it any good? Do people just have to figure it out on their own?
I mean, I think
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask the
I'm
same
trying to say
question.
something enjoyable, right? Not another fluff. But yeah, go for it. Sorry,
I
Brian.
mean, maybe the same question, a little bit different angle for you, looking back on the trajectory of Riverside.
Right.
If you can think back to maybe a year in, a year and a half in, 2 years, do you remember any like big milestone or really big factor that like once this happened, the
Yeah.
trajectory changed?
Yeah, I have a few. Honestly, one of the big milestones was actually probably was like when we launched Riverside. I got, even though it was not necessarily proving the product, but I created a lot of hype. The first day we launched, one of them was we got Justin Jackson on the show. On the show, no, I'm serious.
The
I'm
Justin
serious.
Jackson.
It gave tons of energy and like, oh man, we got a bunch of people. I was live broadcasting on X, and there was some hype, and it was COVID, and it was like, wow, there's something here. I was doing these live call-ins. It was super exciting. That was a big moment. But actually, one of the bigger moments as well was, I think, the first paying customer. I've been building this product before Riverside together with my brother Gideon for years, and it was not Riverside. It was this online video debate platform, and we had a lot of fun building it and learned a lot throughout, but never made any money. And then at some point we pivoted to Riverside, and there was this person who uh, we didn't have a payment system, but I basically just sent her like a PayPal invoice, and that was the first paying customer, and that was like, whoa, someone on the internet is paying for our service. That was like a breakthrough for us because up until then, um, no one had ever paid us. If anything, we had to pay people to come on our platform. So, and from that moment on, I was just doing the math. It's like, all right, I have one paying user. It's pretty scalable. It's a SaaS. Uh, I just need to get to this amount of users, and then I can live off Riverside. And I felt like it could be possible. So that was like, it gave ton of fuel to keep going after that. After both the live show and the first paying user. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
And
this actually might relate to the topic that Justin brought in for today. We were going to talk about competition,
Right.
and how we think about our competitors. And actually, like Riverside to me is one of those tools that I do really think of it as a highly competitive space. And I don't know if you see it this way, but in my view, at some point in the last, I don't know, year, 2, 3 years, like Riverside seems to have won that. Like
Yeah.
there were like 2 or 3 other like big names in this space, and I just remember thinking like, just from a product standpoint,
Right.
Riverside just kept getting better, and the other ones had issues. And like, how do you think about competition in this space?
Yeah. I think I've definitely had periods where I got too obsessed with competition, like to be transparent. Like I would think about it too much, would think, what about if this happened, if that happened? And I just kept going. And and then you see competitions dying, competition getting bought, competition CEOs leaving, replacing. I just kept going. And and it also gave me a lot of inner peace. Like I've been through it now for a lot of different cycles that I just see, like, okay, I will have more competition throughout the years, but I'm just gonna keep going, and we'll see where the boat lands. So I guess it just also I've learned a lot. Like this, it's not so. Of course, that's the advice you always hear. Yeah, don't obsess over your competitors. It's very easy
mhm.
said, hard done, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, there really is no point on obsessing over your competitors. I do totally understand if companies or people do it, but that doesn't mean you should try to just really be focused on your internal users and customers.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have no insider information on this, obviously, but as an outside user, I've been a customer of Riverside for a long time, and I have sort of dabbled and tried the other competitors in the past.
Sure.
And what I've noticed, and I think maybe the answer to the competition question is to just keep focusing on your own product. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's the thing that I noticed about the other players in this space is that the products either stagnated or sort of got worse and more frustrating to use.
Right.
Whereas, like, every time I logged back into Riverside, something improved.
Yeah.
Um, and
No, I
like
think
like
definitely.
for me, I'm
Yeah.
such a product person, but at the end of the day, when customers essentially need to choose one instead of the other, and instead of the type of product where they might be subscribers to
Right.
multiple, um, the product matters more than anything, you know?
Yeah. No, I think so as well. But Justin knows like no other, especially if you can find yourself a space and the markets are bigger than they are. Uh, you know, you know how many other ChatGPT apps there are? Like everyone knows ChatGPT, right? And everyone knows Grok or Anthropic,
Claude.
but
Yeah.
Cloud. Those are like the big five. But there's like 10, 20 of them you've never heard of that are all
Mm-hmm.
making
Hmm.
Yeah.
a lot of money. I know a few, a lot of money. The internet is big these days. So
Yeah.
it is true on one hand, of course, at the end, buying a product is a comparison between different products, but the market is much bigger. It's like even now with AI, people expect it to be a winner take it all market. I think look, no, who knows? Yes, but for the time being, it doesn't appear that that's going to be the case. So you might as well don't get lost thinking about that and try to figure it out for yourself. Yeah, easy
Yeah.
said, hard, difficult to do, obviously. But
Well, when did you transition from being like an independent, bootstrapped, making all this hype yourself on Product Hunt to, because eventually you raised some money and then you were
right,
doing some serious marketing. Like you had like an insane investment in content and SEO, and like
right.
there was a transition at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we launched on Product on March 2020 and raised money in August 2020. Uh,
Oh, wow. So say that again.
It's like a couple months.
yeah, March 2020 we launched on Product Hunt, but before Product Hunt we already no, actually we didn't have much going. But so Product Hunt, the payment system was barely working. We launched March 2020, and then in August we raised money.
Wow.
Um, so
From the Product Hunt launch, like somebody
yeah,
saw the
yeah,
Product Hunt
yeah,
launch?
yes.
Was
We
that
did,
Alexis that saw it?
no, we had another investor. His name is Oren Zev, Zev Ventures, and then Series A was led by Alexis, and yeah, I mean, it was not that. I think also at the time, bootstrapping was very hot, and um, then I asked myself at some point, I was like, okay, do I want to bootstrap because I just am scared to be ambitious, or do I bootstrap because I can't? But then
Mm-hmm.
I just went for the moon because I think now I was an opportunity. Initially, I was telling myself, no, we just want to bootstrap. But that was not. If I would ask myself, that was not really true. I just was saying I want to bootstrap because I couldn't raise money.
Yeah.
So at some point, because my ambitions were really big always.
Yeah.
Not always, they grew to be honest. But like if I could aim for the moon, I would try to aim for the moon. So the confidence grew, and I raised money um, in August 2020, and ever since we've just been in this roller coaster. Honestly, kept iterating, kept improving, raised more money, and are creating hopefully a great product. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Amazing.
it feels like in retrospect that paid off because on both sides, both on the marketing side and the product side, I mean, if you go on Reddit and you look up people talking about this category, which is remote recording in a browser, there are a million edge cases and problems. And every day someone's getting disappointed with
No, it's hard.
whatever they're using.
Yeah, it seems like such a high pressure product
No, it's been
to make
super.
work, right?
Yes.
But
No,
you guys were able to invest, I think, of all the products, yours became known as the most stable, the most solid.
yeah.
Do you think that was a result of the funding, or was that just like, was that people? Was that just your
I
own
think
engineering prowess?
I think a few things. One is a starting point in the market. So we started off with recording. We didn't start off with editing or podcast hosting. So our entry, so okay, this was the core problem that we had to solve. It turns also out this is the problem that's most difficult to solve. Uh, so we started off with the most difficult problem. For various reasons, it's much more difficult than it may appear. Like you're dealing with Chrome. Chrome is changing all the time. You're dealing with browser space all the time. It used to be you couldn't save so much in the browser. Computers were getting full. Many different edge cases. You have gear, all kinds of different gear. You can't even imagine.
I can't even imagine because we're getting like a common customer support request we get is some 81-year-old lady using Windows 95, wondering why and Internet Explorer 5, and wondering why, it's not working. So for you folks, it must be even more so, like just so many people trying to use this thing.
Definitely, we've gotten some brutal uh, customer support, but basically, like, so there's a few things. One, the problem we started with. The second, definitely the people we hired. You know, I also asked myself in the beginning, like, would we have been able to hire these people if we didn't raise the money? Maybe, but it's not that we would have been able to pay these guys without the funding. It's like, he,
Sorry, you would have been able to, or you would not have been able to?
yes.
Okay.
But the question is, I don't know.
Would they have wanted to join?
For example, like, I don't know, maybe yes, maybe not. It's very hard to determine exactly what would have happened, right? I will say, um, it definitely was a good decision for us to raise money because we just had this huge opportunity in front of us and have this huge opportunity in front of us, and I think at least we have a shot at going for it, and I'm enjoying the journey. So yeah, like, of course, Bootstrap has many advantages, and I don't think sometimes people are super opinionated. No, you should Bootstrap. You should do this one. Like, you should do whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is that you're kind of honest to yourself. What do you really want to do? Because many times people say they want to bootstrap just because they cannot raise money. That's totally fine. If you cannot raise money, that's okay to bootstrap. There's nothing bad about it. But yeah, for us, it played out well, and I'm excited. We're still have a long way to go. But
I mean, that's actually brought me to what I want to ask you now is like, what? So you're about 5 years in, more than that, 6 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
What's on your mind now in 2025? I have a couple questions off of that. I mean, where do you see the industry and Riverside's role in it? It does seem like Riverside is starting to really bite off other parts of the problem, right? Like the editing and the hosting and like AI like summaries and things like that. But then the other thing I wanted to off of that is like you hear about all these like major podcasts using Riverside, like the top podcasts, like celebrities talk about Riverside, right? Like
I think Taylor Swift used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what kind of problems or challenges are at the top of your mind these days?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the outside, everything looks great, but internally we have tons of things to solve. We still want to make like even just what we are doing right now much better. The live streaming, the recording, the editing. We've really invested a lot in the editing. If you try out the editing, it's like a fully baked editing product now.
I was just in the other day, like, because I'm working on a new other podcast with some editing stuff, and yeah, it's got like the script based editing, the multi-track. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and thank you. And we still have a long way to go there, just making it much better. So I would say a big part of it is just making what we have much better and keeping relentlessly focused on executing. Yeah, we have a lot of things working and more experiments and more stuff that we're working on. But I think we need to keep our heads down and be focused on even what we're doing right now and keep making it better and better. And there's so much more things we can do and improve. And for example, in the editor, of course, AI is changing everything. So we want to simplify editing much more. We want to make it a much better experience if you want to not just create a talking head video, but also if you want to maybe make the video much more engaging with AI on top of the video. So how can you go from a boring looking talking head video to a much more engaging video? Of course, AI has many more opportunities there.
You know what would be awesome is
Super interesting.
Is if, because I'm manually switching to, I'll show things on screen using your share tab, but it would be awesome if AI was just suggesting, do you want to share this? Do you want like a little pop-up where it's just like, hey, you could share this. Oh, hey, we found that Andreessen blog post. Why don't you put that up on screen? There's like, I feel like that's where I want the AI is an assistant who keeps going out and finding things I can share on screen.
Yeah.
It
is really interesting to. Oh, sorry, Justin.
No, yeah, that was it. Just like, I think that makes the most sense.
It was interesting to hear you talk about like some going beyond the boring interview. Like this other new show that I'm working on is like an interview show, and I'm trying to figure out like because it's not like an in-person thing. I'm trying to figure out how can I make like an engaging like
Right.
YouTube style with interviews and with like B-roll from the guests and stuff. So that's
Right.
really interesting that you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I through my work on builder methods, I talk to a lot of team leaders and engineering team leaders, and one of the things I'm always interested to hear about,
Oh yeah,
and
this will be good.
I hear from team members is like their internal adoption of AI, especially on the dev team.
Right.
I'm wondering if you can talk at all about that. I mean, obviously we see the AI features in the
Right.
product, but like, how about your process internally? Like, how much
Right.
is your team leveraging AI and like writing code, reviewing code, things like that?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think there is a difference what people say publicly and privately, meaning like sometimes I ask myself, maybe we're not adopting AI enough because it seems like everything is so easy. You can vibe code anything. Our product is pretty complex, so you cannot vibe code your side, right? There are parts where you can much quicker go from 0 to 8, but then the last 20% can still take a lot of time, sometimes even longer using AI. But
Hmm.
there are aspects where cursor and whatever coding tool you're using are super relevant and useful. Uh, Naming and reviewing and um, some engineers find it super useful, but other engineers in our company don't find it so useful yet. I am trying to really encourage people because it's always changing and getting better and getting better. Um, I will say we're not a company that is vibe coding everything and
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
And
I mean, the product was built before AI came around, right? So
right. No, and I think that also, there's pros and cons to that. Uh, but con is, we have the whole backend's pretty complex.
ha,
Just inertia, it's harder to, probably on a new code base, it's much easier to adopt cursor and all these tools. Well, our product is a bit more complex to do that. That doesn't mean we should try to lean heavily into that, but that is the reality on the ground.
yeah, and what you're saying, it mirrors what I'm hearing from most other CEOs, CTOs, team leaders of large development teams. It's like either like most of them really do want to start to adopt it with their teams, and they're still looking for ways to transition to it, at least in some ways. I'm curious to know, like, have in the past year or so, like, has your team like have there been any like organizational changes or process changes, or, like in terms of like new initiatives to like increase adoption at all, or it's sort of, or what I also see a lot of teams is like whatever individual engineers are interested in using Claude Code for this or that or Cursor, like go for it, but use whatever is easiest for you.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm not such a believer in making things mandatory,
Right.
but at the same time, engineers are skeptical, sometimes too skeptical. So you do want to really encourage them to use it. And I have tried to like create like a sense of like sharing examples, sharing what it looks like and for people if it works well, sharing some, being the classical CEO, sharing some tweets, saying, "Hey, look at this." But has our workflow really changed? Not so much. Like not so much. I can say as a probably in many ways I can maybe don't even think about. Right. I'm talking all day long to ChatGPT. Yeah, don't get me wrong. And I'm thinking. I'm talking all the times to it and researching things in LMs. And probably in researching and debugging, it's helping us a lot. But as like how we go from ideation to execution, not radically, but maybe I'm already so used to it that I can't even
You
judge
know
it.
what's funny? I noticed this with I have a super small team working with me on a couple different products, and I do nothing to like direct them or require them to start using AI or change the way that they do things. But I do know that like my developer on Clarity Flow did start using Cursor on her own just in the last like 7, 8 months.
Mm.
And I noticed that, I mean, we've been pretty fast in general before this, but like things do tend to ship even faster now. Like she
Right.
completes tasks faster. And also like things are, like if she's more back end, the front end is nicer, requires less
Right.
hand holding because part of it was done with that sort of assistance. It's like I start to just notice these little efficiencies, even if it's not like programmed into our process in any real way.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we do all the like meeting recording, all this stuff, and there's a lot of value, and I think in summarizing and these kind of use cases. But
Very cool.
also, look, I do manage engineering like indirectly, but I'm not hands-on on
Mm-hmm.
floor. So probably it's also being used. I don't even know at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine.
I have a, we can end on this too, Nadav, we don't want to keep you too long, but, and this is a bit personal. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I just was reminded that you and I did a phone call, I think when you'd hit about 30 people.
Mm.
And have you just turned 30? How old are you now? You're 30?
31. 31.
You're 31. So you were
man.
still in your late 20s when we had this call. And I can just remember you just had 30 people. I think you just raised money. And at the time you were very stressed. And as a bootstrapper, I kind of took that as like, oh yeah, see, we chose the right thing. Like I'm feeling pretty calm. Nadav is over there. He's stressed out.
Here he is with a team of 300.
How are you feeling now? Like, did that stress, did that initial stress of, all of a sudden we've hired 30 people and all of a sudden we're raising this money. Do you feel like that subsided? Because I think that is what keeps a lot of people away from raising money. And now you got investors telling you got to go big, or maybe just your own ambition just feels so big and overwhelming. Did that even out?
So I don't think there's always this chip on my shoulder, right? It's not like that chip is gone or the stress is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's a matter of raising money. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Mm.
It's more just that I want to fulfill the potential we have.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's stressed. It's more like eagerness to grow at this point. I definitely remember, it was also probably, it's funny, I hear like that the noise cancellation is not on. But anyway,
Oh, that might be from my end or something.
no, it's fine. This is my obsession. But what I was gonna say is I still manage product hands-on, which I really enjoy. And
Mm-hmm.
as even though we're big, what I've really noticed that action in my case removes stress.
Yeah.
So and I feel like I'm in control in the areas where I want to be. And I think the moment you grow and you're suddenly can't control anymore, it feels like you cannot control your destiny or the decisions. That's when you get really stressed. And I think at the time there were a lot of different factors, right? One of them was COVID. I didn't know how long it was going to last.
Yeah.
Like, hey, is this just a fad? Definitely crossed my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turned out, no, this is a real change. People are going to continue creating remotely. And now we're much more than just recording. But that was also part of what was on my mind. But so in conclusion, I don't feel stressed. Do I feel super strong hunger and desire to make Urside much better? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, dude. What
Incredible.
you've accomplished
Thank you so much.
up till now is incredible, and
Thanks,
to
guys.
still be so young and have all that.
Thank
You
you.
you still have so many. Like you've learned so much more than I have, just having to manage this big team and everything. It's incredible what you guys have achieved.
Yeah. Well, everyone is doing their. That's kind of what I was trying to say. Like, I don't think one is better or it's just different.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
a
mean,
lot for having me on. Sorry.
congrats on all the success. And again, like just to sort of bring it back full circle to the beginning, it's just one of those products that you could tell so much care goes into this product. You could just, as a user, you could feel it day to day, still this many years in. So it's
Thank you.
awesome.
That's a huge compliment. Thank you.
Next time you come on, I'll turn on the noise canceling for you.
Yeah. Next time I won't be on the couch as well. I need to get a better setup.
Oh, dude, that was so great.
Okay.
All
Cool.
right.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
All right,
Bye.
thanks. See ya.
All right. See, there you go. Just a little
Unbelievable. You throw the link on, and then the founder of Riverside hops on. You never know.
Well, I saw Nadav in the chat, and I was like, "Oh, that's probably Nadav." And then that was hilarious. He joined. That's great.
Crazy. And I didn't know who he was when he joined. I was like, all right, who's this? You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, incredible. I do remember him reaching out in the early days and being like, "Wow, he was 26 or something at the time, and
yeah,
just going." And
what an incredible mini interview there. I mean, there's so many. Right at the end there, it was really interesting to hear how ambitious he still is, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you would sort of expect it with a fast growing, well established product like this, but like all I ever think about, and probably you still think about this, is like sort of like the hunger of the small bootstrapper.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to hear how, like, obviously from the early days product hunt, and then like a very quick jumping right into raising money, and like and the really quick rise in ambition that he talked about, and that happened quickly in the first couple of months of Riverside.
Yeah.
Fast forward 5 years to now, 300 people on the team, probably thousands upon thousands of customers, and he's still like, we could be so much better. We got to keep growing, you know?
Yeah. This is actually the magic. This is the magic of podcasting. And it's also the magic of going to conferences and everything else. I'm so glad he joined, because hearing different people's insights and different people's journeys, like how they experience the thing. Again, this was the original dream of the panel. Is you
We finally achieved the panel.
We did it. You might not follow that path, but so you're not making excuses that are imaginary, I think is helpful. And on the other hand, I do know people that raised money the exact same time as him. It ended up crushing them. They couldn't raise more. They ended up selling. They ended up working for this company they didn't like. And it can go all sorts of different ways. But in his case, it's pretty clear from my perspective that, and I knew a lot of his competitors. I was friends with the folks at Zencaster and Squadcast. When Riverside was ramping up, both on the marketing and product side, they just felt like such a challenger. like they had the muscle of, I think the funding did provide them with some muscle, did allow them to raise their ambition, did allow them to pursue a very difficult product category. Right. And then they got a lucky break, just like we all do with COVID. It was like all of a sudden, everybody, every comedian and person with a late night talk show is now using Riverside because they need to do something during lockdown. And once you've experienced it, once you're like, oh, look, we can do this. This is so easy. I send you the link. Then, you keep using it, especially if it continues to be reliable.
And yeah, especially if it just works, right? And when you had planned this topic of like how founders don't think about their competition enough or in the right way, I was probably gearing up to get into the conversation where it's like, you probably shouldn't think about your competition too much, or there's all sorts of things. I know we can get into what you had in mind there, but I just wanted to say, Riverside in that space of live recording for podcasts might be like the exception to all my thoughts on thinking about competition, or it's one of the few exceptions in that, like, it is hyper competitive between only a couple of, or at least it was competitive between only a few players. Like, we, at least in our circles, we knew of Riverside, Squadcast, and Zencaster, right?
Yeah.
And like
there was Skype call recorder.
Yeah, there was other stuff like that. Yeah,
Zoom,
but like
and other things,
you could just record Zoom. But like that, I think when people think about who's going to win this space, or if you're competing, how do you outcompete your competitors? There are some people who will say like, you have to out market them. You have to out hustle them on the exposure or on the branding or on the reach, on the distribution. But in my opinion, in this particular space, as long as you are already in the game in terms of like a known entity, Riverside, Zencaster, Squadcast, maybe a couple of other options, then it really does come down to product. It's which one are people going to come in and hit record and it's going to just work versus which one are they going to have a frustrating experience with. I mean, I'm sure I had the same experience as most people. I tried all three at different points and I got frustrated with two of them. And fast forward to today, I'm still a paying customer on Riverside, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Riverside, I would say it was both, because Riverside invested, that was the whole thing, is they invested a ton of money in marketing. Like we almost, not just in podcasting, but across multiple categories. Like people at Buffer were noticing this. Anybody who had SEO for a bunch of topics around the creator economy, all of a sudden, Riverside was just crushing everybody. It was like, where did these guys come from? And they were hiring, you know, famously, they hired Steven Robles to do a lot of their video. And it was just like they were investing a ton in marketing, big booths, sponsoring events. So I think it was both and. For sure.
Like we tend to think of like, because we already know these players, but they're probably thinking there's a whole ocean of people who are just discovering podcasting for the first time. So which brand are they going to go with, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you look at their organic keywords on Ahrefs, like they are ranking for a ton. I mean, they're ranking #1 for how to start a podcast. They're ranking #1 for podcast name generator. They're, you know, they invested so much. And I remember all of us were kind of looking at our Ahrefs and going, oh my God, like we hadn't seen anybody kick up a content machine like this across and advertising too, investing tons in Google ads and Facebook ads, you know, Instagram ads. They were just everywhere and consistently there.
Incredible.
So I think the marketing investment paid off. And I think this does go into what I wanted to talk about, which was, I'm in a bunch of Slack groups where this comes up, where people have a product in a category that is having a hard time finding traction. And let's just say you're in the email newsletter space, right? So you're competing with MailChimp. And what I find is, people are like, well, I'm in this category. There's a lot of people here who should be using my service, right? And I'm always just thinking about like people starting an email newsletter today. What are they thinking about? What are they trying? What are the big names that you're competing against? Well, today the big name is Substack. And what advantages does Substack have? Why are people moving to Substack? Well, a lot of it has to do with network effects and distribution. Instead of you having to collect all of your email subscribers yourself, Substack has this huge network that has at least the promise of being able to. And so you're coming in as an indie email newsletter platform. What are you going to do? Is that going to be your target market? Because if you're targeting those kinds of customers.
So I have a question about this conversation. Are you pointing this conversation at the person who is starting something up in a well-established category with some big players in it and how they should think about their competition?
It goes deeper than that. It's just thinking about a category, thinking about the kind of customers you want to go after in that category, and even just the kind of customers that are actually purchasing, all those questions. And then just being super realistic about, I think there's a little bit of bootstrapper myopia where you have this feeling of like, oh, if I just
find 100 customers, it'll be great.
Yeah, but if I just provide the simple version of this, like, you know, Basecamp is the simple, clean, minimalist version of Jira. So
it's not enough anymore. Like just the fact that you're small and bootstrapped, that's not enough.
It may not be enough. And it also makes me feel like you're not thinking about it from the right vantage point, which is I'm a person who is looking to, I just actually had this. My daughter was working with this nonprofit and she's like, where should we be writing our blog? And I was like, I went through all the things. Well, WordPress and Squarespace and, there's Ghost and then there's, Statamic and then I asked a few more questions. Like, what are you trying to achieve with this? Like, what's the goal? And the goal was to get more readers. The goal is to, and I'm like, it's got to be Substack. Like, if you're trying to build a new audience and you're not particularly good at finding unique little channels and pockets of people, where are you going to go?
I think what you're saying, I completely agree. I think what it comes down to is like, you just have to have a really good answer to why. Why you?
Yes.
Why you? Right?
Why you and why you for
who?
And
right?
for who? And don't imagine, sometimes people just imagine this mythical customer that doesn't exist. Like they'll be like, well, I'm going to do, a classic one is I'm going to do something for SaaS founders. And I'm like, like
that's tough right out of the gate.
There's just not very many good businesses that have been built for SaaS founders. And when you actually think about SaaS founders, like if you went and interviewed 100 SaaS founders about any question, what are they using for their marketing site? You're going to get 100 different answers.
Mm-hmm. It's about why you, and it's like the answer, because I think too often, and I've fallen into this trap many times, too often we as founders answer when someone asks you, because customers will ask you this question repeatedly, why should I choose your product over the known competitors? If the answer, too often the answer is like way too long. You list too many features. Well, we have this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
But you're just listing the things that make your parity features. You're just listing the same things that all the other competitors have. So right off the bat, you lost because they are more established. They already built up more trust. So you have to have some unique. They call it a unique differentiator. Like, and that has to be a one sentence answer to the question of why. Because if the question is why you or why your product, you shouldn't even need to discuss the parity features. Those are a given. Or they shouldn't even matter because your real answer to why is so important. Like, because we're the only ones that see the world this way. And if you see the world this way, then you know about this sub problem within a problem. And we know it really well. We nailed that one little detail that everyone else ignores. Like, that's the answer,
Yeah. And to be clear, I think you can hit a certain escape velocity. So in the beginning, let's just use Transistor as an example. So what was Transistor's unique differentiator in the beginning? And some of these are going to seem super trite, but it's actually true. The number one was there had not been a brand new, fresh podcast hosting platform in ages with a fresh UI. Now, this is a difficult one to talk about because this may never work again. This may have only been a thing for this time.
People will love to say like design doesn't matter, but at the time in your space, design absolutely did matter, and that was a differentiator, right?
It did matter.
Yeah.
Simplecast had just done this big UI revamp that a lot of people didn't like. Libsyn was super old, had not been updated in a long time. There just had not been a fresh user interface. And so when we came along, we said, hey, we're the modern, simple, well-designed podcast hosting platform. A lot of people were like, man, I'm just going to try the fresh new one, Yep. So that helped. The other key differentiator was our pricing model. We were one of the first people to offer unlimited podcasts for one price. Everyone else, you had to pay every single time you started a new show. And that ended up being a really key differentiator. It was enough to have those two. And then you get a little bit of luck in there. We COVID certainly helped. The lockdown certainly helped. I showed you that revenue chart where the first years of COVID, like our revenue increased incredibly. Like we're talking 300, 500%. I can't remember. It was insane.
Yeah.
And then we'd hit escape velocity. Now we are just in the top 5 podcast hosting. Now, of course, we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes. Yeah. I'm pushing the marketing thing forward every day. We're pushing the product forward every day. Like we're working hard. We're being incredible at customer service. That was another differentiator. We actually did live customer service. All of this helps, but there was 2 or 3 things that helped us make that initial splash. And then once we hit escape velocity, then there's these reinforcing effects that can keep you kind of up in the stratosphere.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm in like the first couple of months of my Builder Methods business, and this is actually really top of mind for me right now, is thinking about what is the actual value proposition and what is the unique differentiator? Like why, I'm more trying to figure out right now, like why are people buying Builder Methods? Like it's actually selling pretty well. And I don't actually have a clear, I have a lot of survey data that I need to do a better job of sifting through it and finding patterns. But I have had a few conversations, and I had one aha moment about a month ago because I ask this question a lot whenever I get on a call or email with someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I love to ask, like, what are the other options that you've considered here? Have you hired other consultants? Have you bought other courses? Have you joined other communities? I ask that
Such a great question.
all the time. And sometimes they have, or sometimes they've considered them. And one thing that one team leader, they were like a huge engineering team, he was like, yeah, I looked at some of the other ones, but most of those were from commercial tools. Like they were offering training around their tool, and you're the one who comes in like unbiased. You're not representing a commercial entity.
Yeah.
And so I learned that like a month or 2 ago, and in my recent like videos and some like the promotional copy, like that's a key benefit now. I'm starting, like I didn't know that when I started Builder Methods, but that's like a new bullet point that I really like to touch on. It's like unbiased, like just trying to find the best workflow, whatever tool. Like I don't represent a major AI platform or a major tool,
Yeah. And I'm also, I actually think demographics matter a lot. It's something I think about a lot. And my guess is your audience is a little bit older, and older than the AI JavaScript vibe code boy that's on Twitter posting a new, hey guys, like look what I just got, you're not the high energy young whippersnapper. Like
it's true. I tend to attract professionals, and
that's right. Older professionals.
I don't know that they're necessarily older. I do attract some older folks, but I know that there are also younger folks. But they are professionals. They're in careers in this.
Yeah, I think that's a key insight.
Well, and that's another thing that's sort of top of mind for me right now, and is the fact that my audience is the professional means that most of them are set in their ways of hand coding, and they're not skeptical of AI because they're joining things like Builder Methods. They're interested in it. They feel motivated to spend money on improving their adoption of AI.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also noticing now that I do think that people with a full stack development background, in some ways they're at a big advantage if they fully adopt the tools, but they're also slowed down in their adoption because they have to sort of unlearn and transition a lot of old habits. And I'm still trying to find my way around, like, well, am I helping people? Should my role be to push them to the new way of doing things, or try to push them to unlearn certain things? Or am I falling into the old entrepreneurial habit of finding out where my customers are, meeting them there, and helping them do more of what they've already been doing, versus trying to convince them to do something new. Like my old product muscle memory has always been like these people are doing coaching with courses, and so let's make the product coaching, and we'll offer courses because that's what they're already doing. Let's sell them something where they're already in motion. That was the concept with Clarity Flow. But with builder methods, this is a different thing. It's education, it's community, and the driving motivation behind the purchase is I want to change or I want to adapt. So
yes.
So it's like maybe my role isn't to help them do what they've been doing. Maybe my role is to be the coach who pushes them to a new way, right? Like,
yes, yeah. I think this gets really at what I didn't want to do that. Really gets at what something I've been thinking about, which is, and here's another great Rob Snyder article. The physics of startups. Demand is what causes buyers to buy things. So, and his next point, our businesses simply serve demand. Everything we do only works if it fits the buyer's demand. Demand causes the activities we do to either work or not work. And the only thing that's going to cause your business to grow or grow faster is because there's a bunch of people out there that have demand for what you're offering. So understanding the size and shape of customer demand is kind of key to unlocking all of this. Because his next point is the goal is to figure out the specific physics of our business. The goal is to figure out the physics of our business. So based on what we know about our customers' demands and options, what exactly is the right shape of our business in terms of product, pricing, etc., that buyers pull instead of us trying to push it on buyers, and what set of activities should we do to channel and serve that pull? That's what I'm talking about. Like
I think it's like on the sales pitch and the marketing and the positioning, it's like really resonating with the thing that's pulling them. Like make it easy for them to, like, you're speaking directly to their why, like why they came in, right?
That's right. And having an understanding of it, this permeates into every part of the marketing and the product, which is why I've always felt that product and marketing need to work hand in hand, because ultimately, I've said this so many times with Transistor, people are using Transistor to get their podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever people listen to podcasts. That's what they're doing. They don't know what hosting is. They don't know what a CMS is. They are using us to get their stuff on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and then get some sort of signal back as to how their podcast is doing. That's the primary reason they come to us. And in our world as developers and engineers and technical people, we're like, well, no, but it's hosting and it's RSS feeds and it's XML and it's all this other stuff. No. We got to get out of that world. Get yourself in the seat of somebody who's recording something for the first time, trying to get their voice out into the world. All they care about is us helping them get onto Spotify and Apple. The other day, there's someone who signed up who's been doing a podcast where they've just been uploading little MP3s to their website every day, hand coding it in. And they're like, I don't understand why no one can listen to this on Apple Podcasts. It's like, well, that we can help that person. And I think the mistake I see so many founders making, and you can fall into it even with a mature product, is you lose sight of what the driving forces that customers really care about. And you think, oh, well, maybe we should offer this. It's like, well, the main things are this right here. So how can we make this better?
Yeah, and I think, one thing that sort of comes to mind for me lately is I'm starting to think that there is, like, the idea of sniffing around for different target customers and then following the scent to where you're going to find the potent problem to solve, or the potent customer group to figure out what they need and then build a product for them. Like, yes, we know there've been many businesses or SaaS businesses that have been sort of built that way. But I now my pendulum has swung more toward, like, just have your own gut vision for the way a certain thing should be in the world, and just build that and be super opinionated about it. And it's okay if you're going to turn off a lot of people. And obviously, if there's 0 buyers for this thing, then it's not viable and you can't do it for very long. But if some people resonate with your way of looking at the world, then you do get that sweet spot eventually. It's really hard and there's some luck involved, but I think you'll end up at a much better sweet spot at the end of the day. Because, like, what I'm saying is, I guess I can only speak to my own experience with this. Like with Clarity Flow, again, I always talk about how it's sort of like it hasn't reached its expectations. Part of it is because I did pivot it multiple times and ultimately to what it is today with Clarity Flow. It serves coaches, they really like it, but I was sort of just pivoting it a couple times until I landed on something that's kind of sort of worked. But at the end of the day, it still attracts customers who come in and the best paying customers use Clarity Flow the way that it is designed to be used. But then we also get a lot of other customers who sort of use these features, but then they want to duct tape these other tools into it because they want to do things in a slightly different way than my vision for Clarity Flow ended up being like. And so then you get this mishmash of like some perfect customers and some customers who are high likely to churn at some point because because they're not using the product in the way that it was designed with a vision. Builder Methods is still sort of too young to really have fully realized the vision, but I just in general, when I think about the great products and the great founders and product people, it's like, because I think the ideal scenario when you're talking about the integration between the positioning, the marketing, the sales approach, and then connecting into the product experience, I think the ideal vision is like somebody, like you resonate with the pain point, that brings them in contact with you. It's like, oh, this person gets me. They are expressing the same pain point that I'm feeling. So I'm going to take out my credit card and buy this thing. And then the goal for the product should be, in a perfect world, they go through your onboarding flow and everything is as they expect it. They get here, step 1, press this button. Step 2, okay, I feel like I'm on the right track. Step 3, my problem is solved. Like, and every single customer follows that track, right?
I would characterize it differently. It's a little bit semantic, but I think it is product and marketing are both serving demand. And then the role of marketing and product is to satisfy that demand in some sort of way. It's different than having a problem, I think, because there's lots of problems for which there is no demand. But demand is, there is active buyers out there searching for a solution. And I think this is where you can get into trouble when.
But then the solution has to be very clear cut. Otherwise, you're going to end up with, because I've seen this in multiple businesses where there's a lot of demand, there, like, because it's like a sort of a general problem.
Can you give me an example?
I mean, Clarity Flow is an example of this. Like, every day we get coaches who come to Clarity Flow and sign up, right? Because they have problems running their coaching business, right?
Yeah.
But the issue, and I've had other SaaS products like this where people come because their businesses have processes that led them to my tool that can kind of sort of help them. Right?
Yes.
But every customer who comes through envisions in their mind a slightly different solution, even though they share the same problem.
Yes.
But like, if you compare that to a tool or a business or a product that starts from like, I have an opinion of the world for people like me who experience this problem the way that I experience it. If you feel this thing the way I feel it, then you know, and I know what the solution is. So here it is. And when you buy it, you're going to get my vision of that. And you're going to go through this onboarding flow and you're going to be super happy and you're never going to churn because we see the world the same way You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think the only thing that drives that to success, though, is if there is just a bunch of demand that's pushing that along. So let's use the example of 37 signals. The demand there, the customer demand, is there's lots of people, especially in the web age, that need to manage projects. Agencies, little software companies, whatever. They need to manage projects. It's a really difficult problem to get everyone on the same page, et cetera. And so project management as a product category, there's a ton of demand in there. And it's just all pushing towards finding a solution. Someone gets frustrated, and the boss gets frustrated, or somebody gets frustrated and says, we have got to find a better way of doing this. And that creates the demand. We got to go out. Now, in front of that, so the next thing that they hit is they try a bunch of things, and in their search, they got this demand that's pushing them to go find a solution. In their search, they have a bunch of disappointments, and nothing satisfies the demand they wanted. And then 37 Signals has their approach, which is highly opinionated. And they're basically saying, we have the solution to your project management. Our philosophy is what you guys have been missing. And so we're going to not only offer you the software, but we're going to offer you a methodology, an ideology that is going to solve your problem. It's going to satisfy the demand.
And the requirement for them to have a customer that won't churn is somebody who really buys into that philosophy.
That's right. But you can't put that part in front of the demand. You can't say, well, first, I'm just going to form an opinion about the world. And like, I think anything, if you're going to do that, that could be an approach that works, but it has to, what's behind that has to be just a lot of demand pushing. And then you are just finding the people for whom their demand has not been satisfied yet. And you're saying, well, what you want is to find religion, the 37 Signals religion. And then you can, so it's an approach that can work for sure.
I'll give you, here's a good example. I don't mean to always bring up my stuff, but like I started a new app 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I actually think I'm
putting this in chat. New app alert.
This could be actually like a perfect example of what we're talking about here. I'm scratching my own itch with a problem that I feel deeply, right? I have to sort of give the caveat, like, this is not like my next big business. I'm focused on builder methods. This is sort of a project that I'm doing, and it's a teachable, but it's a real tool that I'm building for myself, and maybe I'll start to charge for it as a mini SaaS tool. That's what I'm doing. So I don't have a landing page up for it yet.
Okay.
But I do have a domain. I'll share it.
Okay.
So there's nothing here if you go to this domain. It's called FilterHawk.
FilterHawk. Like if I type that in,
there's going to be nothing there.
But I'm hoping I'm going to write it the way that you've like FilterHawk as in the hawk. It's
not spelled any funny way. It's like the hawk, the animal, and the word filter in front of it.
I think one day you should build a landing page that is this site can't be reached page, yes, but with a Easter egg.
Design it.
Yeah, like when you there's a little Easter egg, you click on it and then you get through. That's how you get early access.
What do you think FilterHawk is, just based on the name?
It's filtering something, filtering traffic, filtering analytics, filtering the web, filtering things I care about on the web.
Can we see the live chat? This is going to be on a delay. Let's see if anybody else does.
Wait, yeah. What do you folks in the live chat think FilterHawk?
Before I give it away.
What do you think FilterHawk does? Maybe filters for Gmail, filters for what else have you been filtering? Yeah. Hawk is a little bit like aggressive, or like it's like a wild animal that goes hunting. So maybe is this like, yeah? What
I want to, before I react to any of your guesses, I want to see if the chat.
Ryan is saying it's an app for tracking how often you need to change your air filters. Ben thinks it's a component for filtering tables. Maybe in Rails. Like, is this a Rails? Oh, this could be a Rails component or something, or a gem or something. It's got to
I'll
be
hold
an
on to it
AI
for a
or
second.
something. Yeah, like what do you need to filter in an AI world? You need to filter.
I'll give one hint. There is no AI in this product.
No AI at all?
I mean, I'm using it to code it, but there are no AI features in this product. Like I'm not connecting any AI APIs into this product.
Okay. Andy here says it's for finding content and filtering for the newsletter. So you had that newsletter idea before?
That is another product idea that I plan to come back to at some point. But that's
okay.
not it.
Okay. So this is not in that.
That's a different tool. Yeah.
This is a tool for filtering all of Brian's ideas and figuring out which ones are actually.
Pascal says contraband cigarettes. Oh, like filters on a cigarette.
The filter hawk.
Yeah. I'm drop shipping cigarettes from over here. Yeah. I love that's great. Okay. All right. I don't know. Like when should I start to give it away?
Product selection tool. Yeah, Ben. Can you give us any more hints? Like, just give us let's just keep this going.
All right. The one last hint, and maybe this will get to it, is like it was mentioned already. Like the answer was mentioned already.
Oh, the answer was already mentioned by me or by chat. Okay.
I'll give it away. So it is a replacement for Gmail filters.
Oh, okay.
So this started as well, first of all, I think I had mentioned I'd been using the tool Shortwave for my email client.
Yes. Yeah, I remember us having that conversation. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to sort of badmouth products on air like this. I actually happen to think Shortwave is a fantastic product. And their take on the email. I had a tweet last week that said, all the email client tools out there are super opinionated and I hate all their opinions. Right?
Yeah.
So I tweeted that, and that was sort of rooted in the fact that I started to go on the hunt for changing email clients. And I was sort of sad to see this happen, but like their service or my connection to it just kept going down for multiple days at a time, and it caused me to lose a lot of emails, and it was just really frustrating. But the reason I had started using Shortwave about, I don't know, 6-7 months ago, before that I was using Hey, and before that I was just using Gmail.
Yeah.
And mostly my Gmail goes back 20 years. And so I had like a 6-month period on Hey, and then I came back to Gmail. Shortwave integrates with Gmail. Mm-hmm. So the reason I did go to Shortwave was because my inbox is so chaotic. Like I have a lot of like important business emails with contacts day to day.
Yeah.
And then now I have an audience that sends me replies every single day to my newsletter. And so that's a whole category of emails like that flood my inbox. Plus I send so many surveys, which I think is really important to do, and they get sent into my inbox, but those too need to be tagged and categorized, right? And then there's
so
like
are you using labels quite a bit then?
A ton of labels. Okay.
I'm not a big label person. I'm just like in my inbox and I'm reading, archiving, replying, and that's I don't use labels.
I have so much noise, dude. It's like again, it's the newsletter replies, but then you have all the just noise, which is like Stripe notifications, new account notifications, cancellation notifications, or just like this SaaS tool just sent me an invoice that's auto paid.
Okay, see, just there, you started to hook me, because at first I was like, I don't know if I have a problem. And then you mentioned Stripe notifications. I'm like, oh yeah, it would be nice to just have more rules to filter
and then
stuff
like
out.
And then like error monitoring, and then like
I got all that stuff too.
Stuff like that. And then like newsletters, I tend to subscribe using my personal Gmail so that they're separate from my work email, but I still get some newsletters that in my work. Anyway, all of those categories of emails need to be labeled. And you would think, and I've been trying for many years and many months to just set up Gmail. Gmail has a feature called filters, right?
Yes.
You go in there, and if you look at my filters, they're extremely complex at this point. And you can make them complex. You can do these really complex queries, Gmail syntax or whatever, to say, if the subject line contains these words but doesn't contain these words, and if the from email address is not from one of my domain email addresses, then automatically filter it, automatically tag it, automatically mark it as read, automatically skip the inbox. You can do stuff like that with filters, right? Where it starts to break down is when you have so many of these different inbound emails, and some of these subject lines or sending emails I can't control, so I have to filter out for them. Then you just start to add all these and this, or this logic into those queries. And then those queries just simply break. Like they don't, and I work with AI to try to rewrite them, and they just don't work, right? And then the other thing I noticed is Gmail has all this quote unquote magic that they try to do under the hood, which is out of, like, they will, they automatically try to categorize things as like promotions, or automatically categorize stuff as important or not important. That stuff really often conflicts with the very specific filters that I tried to set up, right? Like this email, I specifically wanted to filter to say, like, skip my inbox and go over here and be labeled over there. But instead, Gmail thinks that some keyword in there made it important, so they bump it into my main inbox.
So how are you going to do this better? How are you going to do this better than Gmail?
Okay, so and one more thing that's annoying about the Gmail things is that even if you try to filter on a very specific word, you could say, if the subject line contains money received from Stripe, right? Like those specific words. Gmail will also filter paid or funds.
Yes.
Or like it'll, like, words that are sort of like what you meant. But I'm trying to filter something very specific,
Yeah.
Which,
Dave Junta, by the way, is he doesn't believe that this product isn't going to include AI.
No, it's not.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So, and I've already built it. Like I'm already starting to use it on my own inbox right now. It's not releasable yet, but I have a prototype that I've built in the last 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
It integrates with the Gmail API, right?
Okay.
So you sign up, you connect to your Gmail account, and then basically every email is hitting this application. And then I have a workflow builder, a filter builder. So the idea is, like, if you're going to use FilterHawk, you should probably stop using Gmail filters. Just don't use it. Right?
Got it.
Turn them all off, delete them. Now your emails are going to go through FilterHawk. And I'm sure people listening to this are like, there's no way I'm sending my emails to FilterHawk. That's fine. I don't blame you. But I am. Like,
but wait, so
what I'm saying
the
is,
emails go to FilterHawk and then they have to get released from FilterHawk back to my Gmail?
No. FilterHawk just takes actions on your email. You're still going to use Gmail as your, or you could use Superhuman, or you can use Shortwave, because any other email client that you want to use that integrates with Gmail, you can use. The only purpose of FilterHawk as a product is to replace Gmail filters. So when an email comes into FilterHawk, we have a workflow builder, which is much more intuitive than Gmail's chaotic query system, right? So it'll be a visual workflow builder, just like you're building a workflow, like a visual workflow in ConvertKit, right? Like if the subject line has, let me see if I can get a rough. This is a super rough look at it.
Show us. I mean, You're talking about like a visual builder, kind of like this, then, like these little visual automations in. Okay,
so this is like the design is not finished. This is super crude, but I will share my screen on this.
Okay. Be kind, everybody. Be kind.
How do I share this tab? 1 second. Let me organize my desktop here a little bit.
I mean, just that while you're getting that ready, you are really good at processes. You're good at
Yes.
building kind of these kind of
I
filtering
I love
UIs.
process filtering, and the difference. All right, let me just share this, and then I can talk about like literally how it solves those problems from Gmail. Screen. All right, localhost. Again, this is like super crude right now. Can you see this?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna bring it over to my other screen here, but
Okay, so I'm looking at my workflows page, right?
okay. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
In this, in this test environment, I have two workflows, workflow A and workflow B. Theoretically, I could have 5, 6, 8 workflows. So this is another thing. Before we even dive into the individual workflows themselves, I can define the order in which my workflows run. This is something you cannot do with Gmail filters. So if I have 10 different Gmail filters, I never know which one is going to run in which order and which one is going to cancel another one out.
Sorry, Brett. I gotta leave. I got an appointment right now. You can keep
Oh,
going.
shit. Okay.
See you guys. Bye.
Oh, man. All right. Is the call gonna end? All right, Justin just bounced. All right. Well, anyway, that's Filterhawk. I guess Justin had like a thing. Anyway, I don't know for anyone who's who's watching. Here's like the super crude look at like the filtering thing. If you want to take a quick look at it, I'm gonna have much better videos on this in another week or two. But let me see if the live chat is still here. I have no idea what just happened with Justin. I hope everything's okay. It seemed like it was. I don't know if it was an emergency or. Holy shit. All right, let me stop that. All right, folks. Well, I also have to head out as well. So this was this was an episode for the ages. We had the founder of Riverside hop on here. This was a really good one. So I think this is going to go down as one of those milestone episodes with a very, very strange ending. So thank you folks for tuning in, and we will check in next week, and I'm going to go see what's going on with Justin. All right, later.
my God. I've been gone for an hour. Is this thing still going? Sorry, everybody. I I got a phone. I have this recording mode where nothing gets through, no messages get through, and all of a sudden I noticed my wife called me, so she must have had to call twice. And I had a sauna cold plunge appointment I had to run to. So everything's okay. I'm fine. Just, I don't know why I didn't shut this down before I left, but there you go. Just a little bit of drama. It's funny that the chat, I was really worried that someone was going to use that Riverside link and join while I was in the sauna and, take over the stream, but nobody did that I can tell. All right. See you guys. Bye.